Plaintiff Wendy Alexander met the defendant at a club where he was a bouncer, and there was an instant connection. Wendy claimed she soon discovered the defendant was a narcissist, and she's suing him today for breach of contract and a loan. Defendant Brian Phillips admits that he met Wendy at a club, but says it was a swingers club, and the night they met, Wendy was in the basement of the club having sex with several men. Brian denies owing Wendy for anything.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Actually, Brian and I had met at a club. He was a bouncer. There was an initial attraction to begin with. We had been dating for quite some time. And the longer I was in the relationship, the more of a narcissist I found him to be. He does go from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds.
What's the narcissist part?
Actually, he blames me for a lot of things. Or if I explain something to him or point something out to him, he will immediately say, "Oh, it's my fault," and then makes me feel like that I'm the guilty one. So that's where I come up with that.
Okay.
I'd
just like to hear what folks believe that definition to be, because that's such a popular word now. The definition is extreme love for oneself. Mm-hmm. So I didn't quite hear that. I heard a man that was just didn't want to be bothered with a lot of mess. You tell me.
Your Honor, since Wendy don't want to tell you the truth about where we met at, we met at a swingers club.
Uh-oh.
Where I was employed as the bouncer.
Oh, you all were on swings?
There was a swing there.
Go ahead, I'll let you tell me what
there was a swing
You tell me, go ahead.
The night I met her, I was employed at this place. I worked there as the security and as the chauffeur driver. And the night I met Wendy, she was down in the basement having sex with several men at the time.
How's that relevant?
What's that?
How's that relevant?
Because
to
I
this case?
want to let this know Wendy's not willing to tell the truth about that. What is she going to tell the truth about? I'm going to let you know the story, Your Honor.
And you characterize his personality, and so he has the right to make statements about your personality. You call him a narcissist, he calls you a freak. So, there's nothing wrong with being a freak if that's your thing. Freak off with anybody you want, as many minutes you want, as little as you want, whatever. And that's what they do at the basement of the swing club?
That's what they do, Your Honor.
You know, I'm not going to act like a prune, because someone very, very close to me, she said I was a prune when I was just talking about this. I said,
Prude.
Huh?
P-R-U-D-E, prude. Prude, yeah.
So you know I'm not one. So you know I'm not one, because I don't even know how to spell it. Because I say, you know, such and such, he said he goes to a swinging club, and he said they just walk around and randomly go up to people and say hi or whatever, talk to them, and then they just go in the back immediately. I say, and then he says that they get a little booth or sometime in the jacuzzi and they do their thing. Sometimes in front of people. They meet each other and have random sex. So I'm saying that sounds kind of whatever. So she says, well, don't men go to regular clubs and bars to try to pick up women? Yeah. And don't those men try to go home on the first night with those women? Yeah. And they'll go from woman to woman at that club until they can find someone who will go with them. Right?
Yes, sir.
I said, yeah. She said, and sometimes, unfortunately, the low-down dogs go home to their woman or their wife after they've been with another woman. Multiple women, right? Yeah. She said, well, at the swing club, they just cut to the chase. Ain't going through all that. Ain't buying no drinks. Ain't going woman to woman to beg and plead. No, we going right to it. We know what we're here for. Let's get right on into it. Ain't going to no club to sweet talk you. I don't have time for that. I'm not bringing you no presents. You know what this is. Let's get down to it.
Pretty much.
Now, you can clarify your freakery if you like, or you can leave it alone. That's up to you.
No, I'm good.
All
Thank
right,
you.
good enough. And what do you want to tell me about the breach of contract and the balance due on a loan?
We actually had lived together, and at one point I had asked him to get out.
Let me start with when you moved in together.
Okay, that was in July of 2018. We signed a 2-year lease actually on the house because we were renting. Both of us were on that lease. Once he did move out, I found out actually from my landlord that he was moving out because his current landlord had called to get a reference. So that's how I found out that he was moving out. He left me with rent to pay on my own and
Well, were
utilities.
you all paying half and half, or?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And so once he left, I felt as though he needed to pay half, and I pay half. And we also had to keep the utilities on as well. And that was per the landlord's request until he found a qualified tenant, because there was no fee to cancel the lease, to terminate the lease. It was just the keeping the utilities on and paying the rent until he found a qualified candidate. In regards to the loan, we actually borrowed $5,000 from a family friend for him to get teeth implants, which he did not do. I know that we had spent the money between the two of us. At this point in time, $1,500 has been paid. There's $3,500 left, so I am asking for $1,750.
To pay the debt that he owes for his teeth?
Half. Half of the difference
Your Honor,
of what's owed.
it was never used for my teeth. I never got any of the money.
Who received it?
Miss Alexander received the money.
Is that correct?
She was in
No,
control
I
of the
actually
money.
have a copy of the contract that was
in-
that was
No,
signed
who
by the two of
received
us.
it, ma'am? Who received the money?
It was put into my account
Thank you.
because
Did
he
get
can't
any-
have an
did
account
he benefit from it?
I have
because
an
he does not have
I
a personal
understand.
account.
Did
Yes, I do.
Did he benefit from the $5,000?
Yes.
How?
We did.
How?
We both spent money because we went on a cruise.
Okay.
And mind you, a swingers cruise.
I can't get enough.
In which I
He
want to
said he
remind
can't
you.
get enough.
In which I want to remind you that Wendy ruined that cruise for us
How
because
so?
of her jealousy.
How so?
Her jealousy and her anger when she gets to drinking.
Jealousy
We didn't
of what?
get to the,
Everybody's
we
wide
didn't
open.
get to the
I
part
don't
where,
understand.
and when me and Wendy started dating, she informed me that she used cocaine, she had STDs, and she's an alcoholic.
I don't believe that.
It is the
ahead.
facts.
I just don't believe you.
This is the truth.
I don't believe you.
That's okay, but it's the truth.
Go ahead, man. You don't
That's
have
why-
to defend that. He's making up everything he can. Let me see the contract you
Okay.
all signed.
Sure.
Now tell me about this is the loan. Tell me about
That's the loan. Did you
Yes.
want the lease
the
contract?
breach of contract.
Okay, here's the copy of the lease with both of us on it.
Thank you.
I have it highlighted up the top.
And your only defense to the loan is that she didn't give you any of the money
I didn't spend the money. I didn't get none of the money.
that you signed this. And what do you? What months are you asking for? Did he fail
This
to pay?
one is for May, June, and July. And
His
July was a partial rent because I left in the middle of July.
His
we had
share,
to keep
right?
it till July 15th, 13th
Okay.
or 15th.
Sir,
something
what
like
do you
that.
say to this? Your share of the
She
rent.
asked me to move. She told me to move out
When
of her
did you
house.
move?
April 16th.
Is that true, ma'am? He moved
I
April
actually
16th?
asked him to stay and asked him to be an adult about the situation, and I could stay in the other third bedroom.
You're
and-
looking for something. You have some
Yes, I
evidence
do. I have
of
a
that?
text message saying that.
Sir?
No, Your Honor. Once she asked me to move,
Okay.
and she told me that her daughter did no longer trust me,
Did she ask you one time in the midst
No.
of an argument or several times?
several times. She would
Let's
tell
see
me
what
not to
she
come
has.
home.
Let's see what she
She would
has.
ask me to
That's
not
the
come
text.
home. And so, being an adult, I just rented my own place.
Let me mind you that at one point in time, he told me to get out. And so I took my daughter and my dog, and we went to a hotel room for a night.
And I didn't ask her to leave. She said she left because she was scared. I didn't ask her to leave. I asked her to stay.
Well, there's been a remote control thrown into a wall where there's a hole in the wall.
On your way home. I don't have a home. This is him. You on your way home? I don't have a home. Are you looking at that house? I told you that you can stay at the house as long as you need to, or if you choose to keep the house. Sir, she said you can stay as long as you needed to stay.
Your Honor, I want to point out the fact that Wendy's been arrested for domestic battery against me. That's a fact.
She jumped on you?
That is a fact, and right now she has a trespass order against her from entering my property because she pushed her way into my house and I had to call the police to have her removed. Where she came into my property and assaulted the person that was there with me. And the police had to come, and for some reason, I
She
felt...
was swinging at you?
No.
Oh,
yeah, she was swinging. She broke the girl's nose that was in the house.
Swinging at you? All right.
She broke the girl. She's
that's
going to
your
portray
thing,
herself as an angel, but these are facts.
All right,
that
so
I'm
the
telling
evidence shows you breached the contract, and I'm going to grant her judgment, and that is your portion of the rent and your portion of the loan, which you signed. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
I'm just glad this is finalized and we can move forward.
I'm moved forward. I have nothing to say.